New audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Combs, Sean Diddy Combs' son, of sexual assault.
She then alleged that he was erect and he grabbed her arms and was trying to force her to perform oral on him.
In the eternal words of the world, the apple does not fall too far from the tree.
Diddy and his son are about to be in jail together because his son, Christian Combs, has a large criminal case being built against him, and some nasty things he has done to women are being exposed. So disturbing, his father, Diddy, couldn't even pay his way out of this one. There's a lot of sketchiness going on here, so let's get into it. If you aren't subscribed to the Let's Get Into It podcast, then you're only getting half the tea. For longer videos, deep dives, and of course, more of me, subscribe to the Let's Get Into It podcast listed in the description below. Now, Diddy isn't the only one going down for his dark past, because his associates, his enablers, and even his own children are finding themselves implicated in Diddy's investigation. I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about Diddy's son, Christian Combs, and the lawsuit that's been filed against him. Keep in mind that Christian goes by King Combs on social media. He is a rapper himself. I don't know any music from King Combs. I mean, I'm sure he is a rapper. He comes from a rap family, but he's clearly not as popular as his father. Nonetheless, it seems like they are very similar people, especially looking at this lawsuit, because a lot of the allegations against Christian Combs are similar to allegations that have been brought against his father, Diddy. Let's go ahead and break down this article. Sean Diddy Combs' son, Christian Combs, accused of SA in lawsuit. Now, Christian's victim claims that she was drugged and SA'd by him. She included transcriptions of audio clips that she states are evidence of her denying his advances as he groped her. So now she is suing him for assault, for battery, for SA, and even for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, his victim claims that she was 25 at the time of the assault, and she was working as a steward on a yacht that he had rented out for the day to go and party. She witnessed partying and drug use between constant rotation of suspected sex workers and celebrities. She also alleges in the complaint that she suspected bottles of alcohol were laced with drugs because women began to fall over themselves, panic, or pass out after just one drink. Oh my god, that sounds like hell on earth. I'm not that big of a drinker or partier, and I'm not shading people that are, but I am totally the type that would panic if I am on too much of something and I feel like I'm not in control anymore. And I'd be one of those girls like falling over the yacht, like freaking out because I'd been drugged after taking one shot of liquor.
So the lawsuit starts out explaining the plaintiff's work history and what she does on this yacht. And then it goes on to say, during the second week of the charter service, there was a significant amount of partying and drug use, which caused guests to stay up late through the night. This makeup of the yacht quickly evolved from defendants Sean Combs and his family to include a consistent rotation of suspected sex workers and other A-list celebrities.
Now, around December 28th, 2022, his victim was informed that Christian Combs would be joining the party to record with music producer Lil Rod in the yacht's makeshift studio. At this point during his vacation, which really, this seems like a crazy vacation, 2 weeks on the yacht, it just doesn't end, I guess. But Christian Combs was staying on shore at a villa, must be nice, but often joined his father in the evenings, according to the suit. The woman's suit alleged that he arrived heavily intoxicated and that he paid an inappropriate amount of attention to her. Christian then pressured her to take shots of tequila that he brought on board. So don't take those shots if you think he's drugging people. Keep in mind that his victim is over here working boats on the regular with normal people who come through. I mean, have you guys seen that show Below Deck? I believe it's called, Below Deck on Bravo. It's like a yachting show where the staff take care of the guests. Well, I'm thinking back to those shows and thinking about what I saw, and I remember seeing some partying and everything, but it was nothing like this. And I'm sure these employees aren't necessarily signing up for guests to stay up until 6 a.m., to be heavily drugged, to have people who are effed up all over the boat laying around. Like, it must be such a scene and something that obviously the staff aren't prepared for. It's probably not their regular schedule, having people stay up so late, demanding so much alcohol, getting messed up, and probably going off on them.
The plaintiff alleged that she was exposed to unwanted, unlawful drug use, sex work, and general chaos. She said that it made an extremely hazardous environment for her to work in because guests often demanded drink service until 6 a.m. The staff was treated with disrespect. Suspected sex workers were sprawled out unconscious all over the yacht, and it was difficult to distinguish which bottles of alcohol were laced with drugs and which bottles were not.
Remember, this victim was working. She was trying to do her job, but Christian Combs would not leave her alone. She claims that after she took one shot after being pressured by Christian Combs, he became more aggressive and insisted that she drink more. She became fearful and began to feel the effect of the tequila, which she quickly suspected had been spiked. This is not her first time having a drink. You know, she's had drinks before. She's worked as a bartender, so she knows what one shot would do to her. So after taking one shot and starting to feel this effect, she quickly realized that, oh, everyone is drugged. That's why everyone is so messed up. The lawsuit says that the situation escalated as Christian groped her legs, breast, butt, and the front part. Her kitty cat, not cool. Don't touch her cookie. You're not allowed to touch someone's cookie unless you get permission. The suit details audio recordings which states that the victim could be heard declining alcohol, saying that she had to leave, telling Christian Combs to stop touching her with what sounds like kissing noises in the background. Because there was this makeshift recording studio, there was audio being picked up, and she claims that she could be heard on these tracks, and you could use that as evidence. The victim claims that when the assault began, you could hear in a transcript that she was being pressured to drink, and while she was asking him, "Are you drugging me?" And him replying saying, "Take the shot." Again, Christian Combs not reassuring this victim at all that she could be getting drugged while she's supposed to be at work. So the audio was recorded by Lil Rod, who is someone who has recently turned against Diddy, so probably not the best person to have their hands on this audio recording. At least not the best for Diddy, because now this guy has turned on him, so now this victim can get that audio where she's clearly trying to defend herself. In the audio recordings, you can hear, quote, "Excuse me, don't touch my legs like that. I move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that." You could hear her saying, "I can't. I have to go down. I have to go down." Christian then insists that she stays up there with him, but she responds that she cannot unless he makes a request to the crew leader, the suit states, citing the audio recording. So essentially, she was trying to get out of hanging out with him by saying, "If you want me to hang out, you have to go and ask my boss, and then my boss has to approve." And then she's probably hoping that none of that would happen, but Christian was actually pretty willing to go off and go and ask for permission to keep her around, which would put me in a frightening situation because she clearly doesn't want that. She responded to Christian by saying, "Anyone who has authority would be asleep at this hour. So actually, unfortunately, you can't even ask my boss, so no, I'm not hanging out with you at all." She then attempted to resume her duties and finish her shift. Once she was able to leave the studio, Christian Combs allegedly found her a short time later and insisted that she find him a place to sleep. She directed him to the Yacht Cinema, which was used as an extra sleeping area. Now, when she directed him over there, I felt like she kind of knew something was coming because he then tried to lock her in there and started to grab onto her. She said his penis was erect and he grabbed her arms and was trying to force this victim to perform orally on him. And it really sounds traumatic because this woman was aware of what was going on. She did not want to participate with anything involving this man, and he could not take no for an answer.
In this audio that CNN has listened to, you can specifically hear the accuser who alleges that she was being forced to take this tequila shot that she believed was laced with drugs. And in the audio, you can hear her asking Christian Combs if she was being being drugged, and he answers, "Take the shot." Now, just to put things into perspective, the accuser was a crew member on the yacht. She was a bartender, and she says that shortly after this incident with the shot, she says she was cornered in a room. She says things became aggressive and physical, and then says that Christian Combs forced himself on her.
She's not exaggerating when she says forced himself on her, because there's actually bruises on her forearm and claims that had happened when Christian was grabbing onto her. Now, the victim was able to fight him off until someone else walked in. She claims that she freed herself from his grip when her colleague on board was looking for her since she had been missing for a long time. She recalls complaining to the ship's captain, but says that the incident was not investigated. Wait, what? It should have definitely been investigated. She believes that's because Sean Combs paid the captain to keep everything under wraps. Well, that would make sense. Diddy's also wrapped up in this mess because he is named as a defendant in the lawsuit. He was liable for actually chartering the yacht for his sons to use. The victim also claims that Diddy was on board with women that she calls sex workers, and that Diddy exposed himself to young Miami while they played a game of Carisha Please. Actually, that moment was recorded for a Hulu show because Diddy was supposed to be on a reality television series, which has now been scrapped because of the obvious. But while working on this yacht, this victim saw a lot of things, and she's coming forward. For example, claiming that Diddy's drug mule, Brendan Paul, once told her that he had been forced to watch Diddy have intimacy with multiple women. Brendan Paul is the only person who was arrested during the raids of Diddy's family home. She told her captain about what had happened the following morning. She alleges that after, Diddy gave him a large amount of cash, and she believes that led to the captain failing to meaningfully investigate or take any action. She claims that she was fired in retaliation for bringing this up, for turning down Christian Combs' advances, and since then she's been unable to work in the music industry, which is where she was planning to build a career. I don't know what kind of artist she is, but I would want to stay far away if people like Diddy are running this industry. She claims since this incident, her mental health has deteriorated. The woman claims she has anxiety and panic attacks, as well as severe thoughts of taking her own life. She also claims that all of this trauma has led to her developing seizures and epileptic seizures and an eating disorder and a lot of different things. So poor girl for having to go through all of that. And, I really hope there's justice when it comes to Christian Combs. It sounds like the statute of limitations still works. Sounds like she's got a case against him. There's some evidence with recordings. I'm sure there are some witnesses. So we'll have to see what plays out. This lawsuit was filed by Tyrone A. Blackburn, who is a lawyer who also has worked with Little Rod, filing a lawsuit against Diddy. He was quoted saying, "I'm here to fight for those who can't fight for themselves, and I applaud Grace for being so brave to come forward with her truth." And honestly, kudos to this lawyer for standing up with these people and bringing this case against him. And honestly, it's a really good time for those people because the government is investigating him. I'm not entirely sure what the government's investigating him for, but these civil cases, they could totally be brought up, and there's a lot of support at this moment. So it really looks like it's Diddy's downfall.
What the accuser's attorney is saying right now, what he's saying is defendant Sean Combs turned what was sold as a wholesome family excursion into a hedonistic environment. It resulted in an unexpected increase in workload for her and for her colleagues, as well as unwanted exposure to unlawful drug use, sex work, and general chaos.
Even though this lawyer is working his ass off to try to build these cases against Diddy, it also kind of seems like a moment for him to get some clout. And actually, he's finding himself in some trouble when it comes to his license and with the bar. And, when you are a lawyer, you have to operate in some moral way. You have to follow guidelines and rules, or you could lose your ability to be a lawyer. And it looks like that could be a situation for him. So I wonder if he were to lose his law license, then would we just have to start from the very beginning when it comes to, Grace, the victim who was on this boat, or maybe Lil Rod's cases against Diddy?
Tyrone Blackburn, the attorney representing Rodney Jones in this lawsuit against Diddy, and now also Grace in this lawsuit against Christian, is also facing the Grievance Committee of New York's federal court system, allegedly for improperly filing cases in federal court quote, to garner media attention, embarrass defendants with salacious allegations, and pressure defendants to settle quickly. Worst case scenario, he could face disbarment.
Either way, when it comes to Christian Combs' lawsuit, Diddy is not accused of anything SA related. He's got enough lawsuits, involving that for him to handle. So this one is straight up just Christian Combs' lawsuit that he's going to have to defend himself for. But you guys already know that Diddy is going to be funding it and using everything in his power to pull those strings, unless all of those strings have already been pulled. And that's kind of why we're seeing this downfall. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. We're getting so close to 1 million subscribers. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to be at Coachella this weekend, so I don't think I'll have a proper moment to thank you guys because I think it's going to happen while I'm gone. But thank you so much. And if you guys want me to do like a video where I unbox or we talk about it, just let me know in the comments below. I'm so grateful and I'm really excited for this next chapter. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye guys.